What's good, young world? It's your boy, Mr. All In. Before we get into today's episode, have you ever tried Airbond? Hey, Airbond, how about you come in here and let the people know a little bit about who you are? Oh, they came onto the screen. So Airbond has these Energizer Fizz drinks. They have these various different teas. They got orange chai. Not a big fan of that smell. Spice Robust. Smells like an incense that I burnt before. Peppermint Black. I think I like that one. And they have a Clean Tox tea. I'll be doing this one later on today to get my body nice and clear. But this Energizer Fizz comes in a grapefruit flavor. It's all natural flavors. So I got my cup here. Got it in there mixed up already. Now, I'm not a huge grapefruit fan, but that tastes pretty good. And I know what you're thinking. Mr. All In, you don't need no energy drink. You're already an energy in itself. Maybe. However, Airbond, they sent the products. They asked me to do a review on air. So I'm going to leave in the description contact information, all of that, so you can try this out yourself. But I must say, taste-wise, if I was a grapefruit fan, I probably would like this. So if you like grapefruit, I'll tell you to check it out. If you need some energy, need some clean detox, any of that good stuff, hey, check it out. Everybody sent me some stuff. It tastes pretty good, and I think it's working. I can feel my energy starting to load up, y'all. I think it's working. Shout out to Airbond. Woo. Some natural stuff, energy. I ain't just doing it to do it. They told me to do an honest review, so I'm gonna give y'all an honest review. I'll give them a shot. I think it'll be worth it. I'll let y'all know how the teas do. Make certain y'all following Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. I'm gonna do a review on the teas on there. All right?
Another 100 on the way.
So without further ado, let's go start the show. Welcome, young world, to the Faith, Fitness, and Flow Podcast. I said welcome. Now, I'm going to let y'all know straight up, this episode is not going to be that long, but it's going to be super powerful. Why is it not going to be that long? I had oral surgery the other day, and I've noticed if I start talking for a while, my mouth starts getting very, very sore. But I got to do this for the people. God gave me a word that we got to share with y'all in the flow section today. Listen, Bible bars, we back at it with another episode. Is going bananas. You're going to want to watch that one. And if you're a little pressed for time, just jump right onto the flow and then come on in here and get your faith section. And make certain, please, 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 please make certain y'all are following my fitness page at All In Fitness. That's ALLN Fitness for daily tips of workouts that you can do. Now, one thing that I'm super duper excited to show y'all and bring to y'all is the official Faith, Fitness, and Flow podcast t-shirt. So pre-orders will be live. I think I'm dropping it on my birthday, right? My birthday is coming up. Fix my change, y'all. My birthday is coming up March 24th. Oh yeah. That's a major thing. That's a big deal. That's a national holiday. We start celebrating. There's a day called St. Patrick's Day that is coming up at the end of this week or on Thursday. St. Patty's Day is great. But the reason I celebrate St. Patrick's Day, you might be like, listen, why? Come on, tell it to us. Reason I celebrate St. Patrick's Day is because it marks the 1 week countdown to one of the greatest humans to be placed on Earth. Me. So, I'm really excited. I'm thinking about dropping the shirt, thinking about doing pre-orders. I'm going to just be real with y'all. Y'all let me know. I'm going to let y'all decide, the faithful listeners. Do y'all, matter of fact, we'll do this one. Send me a DM, send me an email, Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast at gmail.com. Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast. All social Let's try that one again. Y'all send me an email, faithfitnessandflowpodcast at gmail.com. If you're on Instagram and or Facebook, Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast, send me a DM. Let me know you're interested in a pre-order of the Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast t-shirt, and I'll make certain that you get your t-shirt delivered to you by my birthday. All I ask, you take a picture, tag me in it, and I got you. All right, and y'all know I'm gonna look out. So y'all hit me up if y'all want to support the Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast. And just like the logo right here, for those that aren't watching for those that are listening to the podcast, it's the same logo that's on the flyer that's probably on your screen right now. So we got that logo on the shirt. Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast. Got the website underneath that one, www.faithfitnessandflow.com. Support your boy. Support your favorite podcast. Listen, this is the only podcast for ratchet Christians like you and like me. It's going down in a major way. So I would get your t-shirt in pre-order because they're definitely gonna sell out. All right. I got a major announcement. Well, I don't want to call it an announcement. I'm just super duper excited to present to y'all what we've been working on, what I've been working on, just asking God, whoa, what do you want from me? How can I serve you more? How can I be a better servant to you? How can I serve your world better? How can I serve your children better? And as I started asking that question, he started showing me, I've already told you, I need you to be more intentional. Be intentional in your give back. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Intentional in your give back. I'm explaining to y'all about this book that I'm reading, The 25 Biblical Laws of Success. My frat brother actually introduced this book to me. And when the millionaire bros tell you to read a book, you pick up a book and you read it. Now, I'm going to keep it 100. When I first started reading this book, it wasn't making no sense. The timing wasn't right. God's perfect will and God's perfect way, he gonna let you know when it's time and when it's not. So without further ado, I know what you came here for. We got to get our praise on. We got to praise the Lord. So let's open this up with prayer. Let's go into our faith section. Again, make certain that you are following me at All In Fitness, ALLN Fitness, so you can get all of your fitness needs. My mouth ain't gonna hold up for me to do all three of them. I practiced this already. Every time I practice, it don't work. But I got some cool stuff lined up for y'all on that All In Fitness page. So make sure you get your fitness tips in. Make sure you get your fitness tips. Make sure you get your fitness challenge, because it's all connected. We got to train the mind, the body, and the soul. These prayers are never for just me. God gave me the ability to be able to connect with him, pray with him, and I don't take that for granted. I ain't gonna lie, maybe for the first 30 years of my life, I didn't realize that praying wasn't necessarily something everyone was comfortable doing or even knew how to do. Thank my mom for that, for always having me in church and talking with me and teaching me and allowing me to ask questions so that way I can learn for myself. So if you ever have any prayer requests, shout out to those that do pray, that do send us prayer requests. Faith Fitness and Flow Podcast on Instagram. You can send your prayer requests. Even if I don't put it on here, if you say, Mr. All-In, I don't want you to include it on the podcast, but if you can pray for me, or I've seen the daily scripture that you posted and it just touched me. Can you please pray for this and pray for that? I thank y'all for being obedient. There is a blessing in your obedience. So if you're watching this or in the midnight hour, you're like, I need somebody to pray with me. Go ahead. Send me a DM. When I read those, I'm praying for you right then and there. I'm going to send a message back. But on the podcast, I'm probably going to include that, not probably, but I may include that prayer request in the prayer, but I promise I will not use your name. I will keep you protected from that side of it, because it can kind of be embarrassing of some of the things as we're growing in our faith. So if you ever have a prayer request, please send me an email, slide in the DM, let me know. You can send me an email as well. I'll check that one. I will continue to pray for you and with you. So let's go to God in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you. We honor you and we give you the praises. We thank you, dear Lord, for another episode of the Faith, Fitness, and Flow podcast. We thank you, dear Lord, for every user that is watching, that is listening, that is sharing, that is liking. We thank you, dear Lord, for letting us be intentional in our give back. We thank you, dear Lord, because you've given us laws in the Bible that will guide us to success. Your word is for correction, guiding. So we thank you, dear Lord, for the directions that you are giving us. We thank you, dear Lord, for the guidance that you are giving us, dear Lord. We thank you for letting us not be ashamed of where we are, but let us be grateful because knowing that where we are is at a starting point, or it may be a midpoint, but it's definitely not the end. We thank you, dear Lord, for letting us be able to have a more positive mindset, a more positive outlook. Let us be able to wake up, dear Lord, with joy on our hearts and thanksgiving in our soul. We ask you, dear Lord, to forgive us for our sins that we have committed by thought, word, and deed. We ask you, dear Lord, to let us be comfortable being uncomfortable, dear Lord. We ask, dear Lord, that you help develop us into the individuals that every time we step, every time we wake up, the enemy gets ticked off because he's like, darn, another one of God's soldiers has woken up to disrupt what I'm trying to stop from it happening and for them achieving in God's world. Thank you, Lord. We honor you. We give you the praises. And we ask that at least one person finds a word that changes their life. And we ask that everyone that listens and watches, that this is a blessing to their mind, body, and their soul. These blessings we ask in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. And amen. Shout out to Ecamm, y'all. That's where we do all of our broadcasting from, is Ecamm. That's why I'm able to do all of this fancy stuff is in Ecamm. And Ecamm has just released a new update. I think we're on 3.10 right now. I could be wrong with that. Hold on, I'm gonna check. Let's check. We are on version 3.10. I was right. They just launched 3.10. I'm gonna leave a link in the description to Ecamm as well. I think everybody need to have Ecamm. If you're going live with anything that you're doing, whether it's Instagram, I gotta work around for that. Facebook, one stream, trying to go to multiple devices at once. Everything that you see. If you see me doing live content, with the exception of my short videos, I'm using Ecamm. So Ecamm now allows us to have 2 soundtracks playing at the same time. Two. Okay, my bad. I was keeping it. Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back. Y'all know the ratchet side of me almost went to the club, but we gonna bring it on back, okay? It's taking everything in my power not to say what I usually say when I'm talking about tools. But those that know me, if you know me personally, you know me because you've been watching and following, leave me a comment. Let me know. This is what you was gonna say at that mark in the podcast. I'm about to take a sip of this fizz. I feel it. Everybody got me on one. It's getting better with every sip. But why did I shout out Ecamm? Because Ecamm now allows you to play two tracks at the same darn time. So y'all noticed before when I would play the music, I want to drop the bomb on them. The music would stop, and then I had to time it, so it was kind of sounding a little off. But now, shout out to one of the baddest DJs, World Child Beats. He's not a DJ, sorry. Producers. World Child Beats. Shout out to World Child Beats with the background music that's providing us each and every week. So if y'all need beats, hit the link. Make certain that what I'm trying to say, get the description. Go in the description. I'll leave a link to his Instagram account so that way you can hear more of his music that he has to offer. Hey, I'm gonna let y'all in on something. Every week moving forward, I'm going to introduce a new track of his as the background music. So y'all let me know if y'all like it. Y'all let me know if y'all don't like it. If y'all want to hear some difference, now he has an array of stuff. So we got some country music, got some rap, R&B, fast, slow. He got an array of things. And he gave me, as my frat brother, access to like 40 beats and said, have fun. So we about to go have fun. So make certain now y'all tune in for at least to hear the new tracks. And if you need a track background for your podcast, I'm gonna leave his Instagram in the description. Make certain at a minimum you follow, okay? So he better get yes, I said better. He better get at least 10 new followers this week. We gotta support each other, y'all. Support black business, and he black. Support the bros, all right? So as I mentioned earlier today, let's get into this one. Intentionally giving back. What do I mean by intentionally giving back? Well, there's multiple ways that you can give back. You may be thinking, okay, intentionally give back means I need to set aside X amount of hours to volunteer. That's one way to give back. Springtime is getting ready to come up. Daylight saving time is upon us now. And you may say, cleaning out your closet is sending those clothes, items that you haven't used, worn in years, to Goodwill. That's also another way that you can give back. But today, you're intentionally giving back to, drum roll please. I think I had one, but I don't know where it's at. But drum roll please. Bing. We are talking about intentionally giving back to yourself. Intentionally giving back to yourself. Now, what does that look like? If you're following the podcast, Instagram or Facebook, over the last week, over the last month, I've been doing morning scriptures, morning prayers. But over the last week, I was intentional. Been reading this book here, The 25 Biblical Laws of Success, Powerful Principles to Transform Your Career and Business. Who is it by? For my readers, William Douglas and Ruben Teixeira. I apologize, Rubens Teixeira. They from Brazil. I apologize if I butchered your name. I deeply, deeply apologize. How about this? If anybody knows him or know that I said that so wrong, let him know that I would love to have them on the podcast. We can discuss their thoughts and everything about just what they're doing now, how they came about this book. We'd love to have them on the podcast. So this book was recommended to me probably about a year ago. I started reading it, and as I was reading it, it just wasn't, it wasn't doing it for me, right? And I'm like, I'm already doing all those things. This ain't it. But God's perfect will and God's perfect timing. There was a nagging force on me, telling me that I needed to be intentional with my give back. I needed to be more intentional with myself, because every week we're pouring into y'all doing the podcast. Every day we're pouring into the universe on social media. Every day we're pouring into the Discord and the Patreon and our app that we're developing. App is still coming. Lord's will, April 1st. So we're always pouring into others. So God was like, I need you to be intentional with you so that way I can pour in to you. You pour into others, I'll pour into you. Stop looking for others to pour into you. That's not their job. Your job on earth, Mr. All In, is to be a pourer. Well, I'm like, man, that ain't fair. Why everybody get poured into except for me? And he said, really? I'm the living water. I'm the one that makes the skies dark. I'm the one that makes the skies day. I'm the one that can tell Lazarus to rise from the dead. I'm the one that turned those dry bones and gave them life. And you want a human to pour into you? Okay. That's how he be talking to me. Like, God talks to me in my voice. God said, I'm done with all of this soft talk with you because you don't like to listen. I'm hard-headed sometimes. A lot of times. So, I was cleaning up, and this book has been in my dining room in a pile of books, just sitting there, right? So I got the book, I opened it up, because every day, the savers, one of the savers is, the R in savers is read. So I finished my last book about the power of eye contact, and I needed a new book to read. I was reading the Bible a little bit, and I was like, oh, I'm already reading the Bible. I feel like I'm cutting myself short. So I started I said, let me pick this book up, and I didn't know it was really going to transform my life, and that this is what I've been sitting on it. So since I've been sitting on it, I'm gonna make certain that you get this information. You get this good stuff, okay? So the 25 biblical laws of success, we're gonna break it down. It is broken down into different sections. Let me open it up. I got Ecclesiastes 10:10. This is in like the first page of the book. Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, skill will bring success. How many times have y'all been working and you like, man, I'm working for nothing. This ain't gonna do nothing for me. Yo, my table of contents, I think, is ripped out. It is. I'm looking at this book. My table of contents is ripped out. All right, it ain't rip out, but it fell out. So I looked at where I picked the book up from. It was on the ground. But either way, the enemy is a liar, because God is even better. We got this information right here, so I can still share it with you. So this book is broken down into how many parts? 6 parts. So this just might be a 6-week series, okay? So for those that are following on the podcast, I'm letting you know right now, every morning the scripture that we got is coming from these laws. We're breaking down, last week on Instagram, I broke down the laws concerning wisdom. Let me rephrase that. Laws concerning wisdom. So part 1 is laws concerning wisdom. I got a question for you. How do you define success? Think about that. We talk about success all the time, but how do you define success? We're talking about being intentional with our give back. How do you know when you've actually succeeded? Easier said than done, right? Like, well, success is having $1 million. But if we're talking about giving back to ourselves, how do we measure success in that? Success is different for everybody. Success is different in every situation. I'll use football, for example. If your team, I'm gonna pick on the Cleveland Browns. If your team was 0-16 the season before, going into the next season, you wouldn't necessarily say winning the Super Bowl is the only way that you can be successful. Just breaking even and being 500 for that type of team and where they are currently is what success could look like in that locker room. So ask yourself, take some time, pause the podcast if you need to, and ask yourself, how do you define success? So the first thing, when it comes to laws concerning wisdom, the Bible says, in all things, get understanding. Seek understanding. The late, great John D. Rockefeller says, I had no ambition to make a fortune. Mere money making has never been my goal. I had an ambition to build. So Rockefeller's success was Rockefeller's success was determined by the amount of things he was able to build, directly and indirectly. And by focusing on what success meant to him, the byproduct was money. So with the laws concerning wisdom, I'm not gonna be here for a long time. Get out your pen, get out your pad. I don't want you to miss nothing. I'm gonna break it down to you pretty quick. And I'm encourage you to make certain that you go back, follow if you haven't. If this is your first time, please make certain you like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Or the YouTube, and or subscribing to the social media channels. You'll notice on there last week, I broke down the laws of opportunity. If you're listening to this and it's not this week when you're watching it, I'll post, you'll see it. Go on the Instagram page. They're all titled. When you look at it, it says the laws concerning wisdom. And then I break down each one of them. So you'll know how to follow along of what we're talking about. So that way you can get the video description of what we're breaking down. The first law concerning wisdom is, trying to get my buttons right, the law of opportunity. The law of opportunity comes from Matthew 5, chapter 4:45. So when you're being intentional in your give back, I need you to think about the law of opportunity. Matthew 5:44-45 says, "Your Father in heaven causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good. The sun rains on the righteous and the unrighteous." The law of opportunity says that everyone at some point in his or her life will have an opportunity to get ahead in life. If you're not being intentional with yourself, you're not thinking about the opportunities that are around you. Case in point. There was an opportunity for me to go to Texas. I said I would go. But I also had this nagging tooth that broke on me when I was in Africa. I was at an office and I'm reading the sign. I'm always reading the signs that are around. Like I'm always reading, right? Before I knew about the law of opportunity that was found in the Bible that Matthew 5:44-45 was telling us, I was always reading because I'm always looking for opportunities for myself and for others. And I read this sign that said free dental work. Now the bad part about the caveat that I have to add with that is the days that they were doing the dental work are the days that I was scheduled to be in Texas. So I had a decision to make. I had to use my wisdom. Y'all see how this coming? Had to use my wisdom to determine if the opportunity to go to Texas was greater than the opportunity to get this tooth pulled. If anybody know anything about having teeth, a toothache, or letting your teeth decay and then it goes into your gums and then now your gums are starting to go bad, now your teeth are falling out. Nah, buddy, I got a nice smile. And I want to continue to keep my smile nice. So I had to use wisdom to take advantage of the opportunity to get my teeth pulled. And guess what? Just like that, like literally, boom, just like that, boom, just like that, boom. I got 3 more opportunities opened up to me. The day that I informed and made a decision, the day that I informed the people that invited me to go to Texas, and I made the decision in myself that I would stay, I got a text message that said, "Hey, can you referee on Saturday?" I was like, wait a minute, that's money. Of course I would do it. It's refereeing. If y'all been following the podcast, y'all already know I ran into a situation when it comes to refereeing. So I hadn't been on the court for a while. So I jumped at the opportunity to do it. But I had to make a decision. I had to be wise enough to say no to one thing because of X. And because of X, it opened the door for Y. And I was able to get an opportunity to referee. Then right after that, I got the opportunity to, what did I do? I got my tooth pulled. Then I got the opportunity to go to a farm share where they said we giving out enough food for a family of 4 where they can eat 3 times a day for 7 days. I'm like, it's only me. You know I'm about to go get some of that and hopefully be able to bless somebody else. Long story short, I was able to bless a friend. I said, let's carpool. picked them up, we went together because y'all see these gas prices astronomically crazy for no reason. That's a whole nother podcast in itself. Okay, I'm bringing it back. So, I don't eat meat, right? But it was a box, opened it up, seeing they had a bunch of meat in there, had a bunch of milk. I don't eat none of that. So I put all of that in the box. I went to my neighbor and I was like, hey, I don't eat these things. Told her what was going on. Long story short, they accepted the box. I know that they were in need. And then just this morning, I got a notification on my phone from another neighbor in my community. It was like, yo, I'm cooking Sunday dinner. You want a plate? What? All because I had the wisdom to take advantage of an opportunity. See, this spirit laws, it does not promise that all the opportunities will be the same, but that everyone will have a fair share of them. The reason that the law of opportunity is not coming to us is because we are not using the laws concerning wisdom properly. We're not looking for the opportunities. In Brazil, the book says, there's a saying that says, the sun rises for everyone, the shade doesn't. This is an interesting concept because it applies that only those who have learned to deal with the sun are able to enjoy the shade. The shade is those opportunities. The shade came over me once I made the decision. The shade allowed me to be able to see that I could referee. The sun allowed me to go give the foods to my neighbor, and the shade paid me back within 24 hours, y'all. And we ain't talking like this took forever. Within 24 hours, I got the text. So yesterday, that would have been because I'm recording it on today, the way that happened. Yesterday, I gave the food, and today, I got the text message. A shout goes there. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. God is awesome. Frederick Lambridge says, 2 men look out of the same prison bars. One sees mud and the other sees stars. How are you looking at opportunities? And I say, how are you looking at opportunities? Because if you don't see opportunities, that means you're not looking for them. Even in the dark, even in the rain, you can find opportunities. The second, I'm gonna leave those up there. So on YouTube, when you're watching, I'm giving a list. Get my hands right. I'm getting a list of all of the laws so that way you can write them down. The second law concerning wisdom is actually the law of wisdom. Proverbs 3, verse 13 through 15 reads, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver, and yields better return than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her." Wisdom is the foundation on which success is achieved. And I'm not talking about intellectual wisdom, like the ability to figure out abstract equations and be able to pronounce supercalifragilisticexpialidocious or be able to spell that. No, but as the capacity to adapt while searching for happiness. Wisdom should be constant in everyone's life, and it involves 3 degrees or levels. The first degree of wisdom is having wisdom in general, the necessary knowledge, good sense, and information to make the right decisions, right choices, and have the right attitudes in life. The second degree of wisdom is a professional competence relating specifically to knowledge of how to work, which requires intelligence and skills. The third degree of wisdom involves in-depth knowledge at the intimate level of the necessary areas and people required for success. James 3:13 says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in humility that comes from wisdom." The first is the most important. It's general knowledge. It's general wisdom. Like our decision making, the happiness, the balance that we're making. Like the values are like the guardrails on a freeway to help us to keep you on the road. Y'all ever been driving at night? Y'all ever been driving on a highway at night in the mountains? I have. It's scary. It's very scary. Me and my mama used to go riding all the time up and down the East Coast. But those guardrails, like lights flashing. They're not lights, but the light hits it or the moon hits it if you're driving at night, right? And it hits it, the lights hit it, you can see it. Your lights on your car hit it so you can see it while you're driving. So it's not like, oh my gosh, there's the side of the mountain, we're gonna just fall off. No, you have that guide rail that is guiding you along the mountain. You feel safer. That's that wisdom. That wisdom is talking to you all the time. The second degree of wisdom is knowing how to work. Matthew 9:13 says, "But go and learn." But go and learn. But go. But go. That means you got to get up. That means you can't just be on social media all the time. That means you can't just be sitting around smoking, drinking, just twiddling your fingers, playing video games all day. But go. And when you go, don't just be like a boxer beating aimlessly in the air. Go and learn. It takes wisdom to go. It takes a second degree of wisdom to learn. I asked this in the beginning, how do you define success? The way that you define success in every area or in different areas of your life is what's going to help you determine what you need to learn. So I'm going to give you two quick things that you can learn. You can learn how to work intelligently, and you need to learn how to work skillfully. Intelligence plus skill yields results. Our goal should be finishing a useful task in the most efficient and productive manner possible. It's okay to slow down and think, y'all. And what does the Bible say about being a skilled worker? I'm gonna give you a few renderings of Proverbs 22:29. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low ranks. Do you see people who work skillfully? They will work for kings, but do not work for lowly people. Someone who works well and is skillful, clever, and dedicated will quickly reach the top. So I ask you, who do you want to work for? A king or a peasant? Stop it. Don't try to get all deep with me. Ain't none of y'all trying to go work for a peasant. Peasant ain't paying. And they are paying, you're not getting the full benefit that you're going to get from the king. The king got it all. He knows that you're struggling. And again, we're not talking about a greedy king. We're talking about a real king. All right? We ain't talking about no Putin. We're talking about a real king. The one that knows that he has a responsibility to take care of his kingdom. The third degree of wisdom is in-depth knowledge. Proverbs 27:23 reads, "Be sure you know the conditions of your flock. Give careful attention to your herd." When talking about knowledge, the condition of the flocks, the Bible is referring to how much you know about someone or something else, a degree of knowledge. For those who's ever been in a relationship or currently in a relationship, your man or your woman, your child, your parent, they come into the house, they don't say anything. But you know how they feel. You know how their day went. There's a level of knowledge, deep knowledge, that when you're in tune to your flock, you know if your flock is hungry, if they're sad, if they're disturbed, whatever it may be, you know because you're paying attention to your flock. Proverbs 20:15 reads, "Gold there is, and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel." Be a rare jewel, my friend. The third law is the law of vision. Habakkuk 2:2 reads, "Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that the herald may run with it." I've been saying this since January. I've been saying this on the podcast before. Write down the plan. I've been saying this in 2021. Y'all know my keys to success. Hear the idea, write it down, plan it out, put it into action. Hear the idea, write it down. It says it right here in the Bible. Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. Strategic planning in any company begins with the company's vision. The vision is where the company sees itself in the future. The law of vision tells you that you need to be clear about what you want in life. So I got some questions for you that I want you to answer. What is your vision? Whether it's work, whether it's personal, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in those relationships can be mother-daughter, mother-son, parent-child, husband-wife, co-worker, employee-supervisor. What is your vision in those roles? My next question is, what do you live for? What do you mean? What do you live for? Answer the question. What do you live for? Where do you want to go? You're at a job. Let's say you're fresh out of college. You got your first job. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to the CEO position? Or is your job to be is your goal to be the lead manager? Or do you just want to pay your bills and come home, work your 9 to 5 and go home? But you need to first identify, where do you want to go? The next question I want you to answer, how do you want to be known? When we're talking about wisdom, we got to be able to know, we got to have a vision of where we want to go. Where do we want to end up? If you just get in the car and start driving and you say, I'm trying to go to Alaska, but you ain't got no real plan, how are you even going to know that you made it to Alaska? How are you going to know you have enough gas? How are you going to know if you should drive or fly or train or do any of those things? How do you want to be known? Do you want to be known as the person that just does everything on a whim? I'm starting to be known. I asked y'all replied, basically, how do y'all see me? Because I know that I want to be known as the guy that helped people create more birthdays. That's what I want to be known as. Mentally, physically, spiritually. If I help you in those areas, I know that you're going to live a longer, happier life. But all of these are your choice. Don't just skim through, don't do one of those, and just keep on moving about your day. Your vision isn't getting clear. Because once we establish our vision, we are able to set our priorities in order to direct our efforts. It takes a wise man. It takes a wise woman to make the plan, to write the plan. Having the plan in the head is not always the greatest thing to do. The Bible says it. Proverbs 5:17 says, better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred. This statement reveals that money, although it has its uses, is not the sole measure of success. If we invest too much in financial success and forget family success, we are making dangerous choices. So take a moment to think about the following questions. What defines success for you? I'm gonna keep asking this question. Hopefully, you've already answered this question and now you can spit it out. See, that's what God does. God is like a merry-go-round. He gonna give you an opportunity. Nope, you ain't get it that time. All right, here it comes. Whoa, you didn't get it this time. Whoa, I was talking to my frat brother earlier. And we was talking about Moses and how he led the people for 40 years on a trip that should have only taken 4 to 7 days. Nope, you ain't get it. He gonna bring it on around to you. Nope, he gonna bring. So at some point, you gotta have the vision to say, you know what, something ain't right here. We done passed that darn branch 30 times in the last 30 days. I think we going in a circle. Every day we going in the same circle. Stop beating around the bush. The obstacles are always going to be there. You keep acting like tomorrow is going to come. The sun is not going to rise every day for you. Because at some point, you're going to stop rising. So that way the sun ain't rising for you no more. Tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Answer the questions now. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. If you don't have a vision, there's no way you have a goal. Just keeping it 100. Henry Ford said that, not me. I got 2 more laws for you. The law of focus. 1 Corinthians 9:26 says, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. Your vision is a snapshot of the future. But to get there, you need to stay focused. That's why you need to have the law of focus. What you focus on, what you pay attention to, expands as you move closer to your vision. Luke 12:34 says, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I got you. I got you. Instead of thinking about the gap that currently separates you from your goal, I want you to shift it. I want you to focus on thinking about performance. Remember, time goes by regardless. Make sure you develop along with it. The sun gonna move. The sun gonna rise. You not gonna always rise with it. But while you have the breath in your lungs, while God is ordering your steps, I need you to focus. I got a better one for you. Focus means to sacrifice. All right, there it is. Yep, I'm stepping on toes. Matthew 13:45-46 reads, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he finds one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. That's a sacrifice. This is talking about the tale of sacrifice. Jesus said in John 12:24, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. This tells us that every job, every achievement requires from us some kind of sacrifice. Success always demands some sacrifice. But guess what? So does failure. Sacrifice your time. We're being intentional with ourselves. So you need to focus. What makes you happy? Sometimes you got to sacrifice the things that make you happy. You might say, going to the club make me happy. Smoking, drinking makes me happy. But what that's doing is taking away from your planning. Ooh. What it's doing is taking away from the vision. It's taking away from the wisdom, the opportunities that are coming. Because you're so stuck on trying to have fun. You're so stuck on saying, I got to be happy. I got to make myself happy. There's time for that. Do you want that sacrifice that you're making lead to failure? Because when you're out having fun and your requirements and your duties aren't done, you're sacrificing the time that it takes to become a master at your trade, to learn. What did I say earlier? The word says go and learn. You're sacrificing your opportunity because you gold, but you didn't learn. I know gold ain't proper English. So I need you to focus. Colossians 3:2 says, set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. Focus on positive thinking. First thing in the morning, God, you love me. I'm beautiful. Just positive self-talk. Go listen. We got another podcast about that one. Philippians 4:8 reads, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. That's what I want you to think about when you wake up in the mornings. Now, last but not least, the law of planning. Proverbs 21, verse 5 reads, the plans of the diligent lead to profit. Anyone intending to be successful cannot ignore the law of planning. There's 3 levels of planning. Y'all ready? Number 1, overall, strategic, long-term planning. That's your 10-year goal. That's your 5-year goal. Planning, number 2, planning for short periods. Every other week, a month, tri-semester, yearly. So strategic, 10-year, 5-year. Shorter periods, bi-weekly, monthly, tri-semester, yearly. And then the third is a weekly and daily planning. Many people believe that planning is boring or difficult, so they never learn how to plan. But guess what? Planning avoids waste. In my fraternity, we got a thing called 12 Ps. In short, we were talking about piss poor planning. I ain't gonna go into it. Somebody right now leaning, ooh, I've been waiting to learn them 12 Ps. I gotta be a bruh and tell you, slide in the DM, talk to me, let me know. Can we talk for a minute? GDIs, I'm giving you an opportunity to call my name, and I'll answer. Professionals who plan stand out in the marketplace. The first step in planning is deciding what you want. Ooh, where do you want to go? I asked you that earlier to answer that question. Planning is not something that you can do once and never do again. It is an everyday labor. Every day. Every day. Every day. When I don't plan, I feel like something's missing. I feel like I'm missing out on opportunities because I didn't plan. Because this is something that God has been telling me. When you don't plan for the day, if you don't pre-plan, that means that you have to focus your energy on planning for that day. And if your energy is focused on planning for the day that you're already in, I can't advance you because you're missing the things that I need you to do for tomorrow. God already knew that he had a plate ready for me today. But in order for me to get that, I had to be obedient yesterday. I had to plan that I was going to go and give the food. That was the plan I made. Because I made the plan and I executed on the plan. That's the part. Not only just plan, what did I say? Hear the idea, plan it out, put it into action. Hear the idea, write it down, plan it out, put it into action. Sorry. Hear the idea, write it down, plan it out, put it into action. Plan it out. It just hit me. It literally just hit me. God gave me these keys to success years ago. What he was doing was helping me understand the laws concerning wisdom. Do all things, seek understanding. Once you have the wisdom, everything else comes into play. Learn how to manage your time and be present and focused in each and every one of your activities. Stop focusing on today. If you're focusing on the now, you have no time to prepare. You're behind the ball. You're behind the ball. Point blank period. You're behind the ball. And I'm going to leave us with this here. Winston Churchill says, "He who fails to plan is planning to fail." Part 2. If you want to get ahead, follow the podcast. Laws concerning work. Laws concerning work. There's 5 of those as well. Laws concerning work. We're going to touch on the laws concerning work, but I pray that the laws concerning wisdom, opportunity, wisdom, vision, focus, and planning is a blessing to you this week. Your life can change in 6 months. Your life can change in a month. In 365 days, a year from now, you can literally be a completely new person. Like going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. What once looked like an ugly thing that was low onto the ground, crawling slowly, now is a beautiful thing that can be able to flap its wings and fly around anywhere where it wants to go. Soar higher than most people can ever go. I'm excited to hear how you apply this word today. Speaking of hearing though, what I'm super duper excited to hear is these Bible bars that I'm about to take y'all over to. So, yo, if y'all ready, I'm about to turn my ratchetness up, about to turn my Christianity up, and we about to jump on into these Bible bars. I ain't watched it yet. This is gonna be my first time watching this one with y'all. I told y'all I've been super excited to listen to these, but I gotta shoot the podcast in order to watch it because I give y'all a live reaction, breaking it down. What are the Bible bars? They literally are taking characters from the Bible. People are acting like those characters, and then they're literally going head to head as if this was a Smack DVD type of head to head battle rap. Y'all know I love me a good rap song. I know y'all do too. So without further ado, let's jump in to these Bible bars. Let's go. What's good, royalty? We back at it with Bible bars. Now this one today has the most views thus far. Again, y'all, we're going back to season 1. We're going to make our way up. But this is from season 1 2 years ago. We got Joseph versus Abraham. All right, we got Joseph versus Abraham. This one has, as of today, 13,000 views so far. The last ones that we've done was like 6,000, around 6,000. So this one done doubled. Let's just see why it doubled in numbers. Y'all ready? Let's go. All right. I had to make certain. Joseph is on the left. Abraham is on the right. For podcasters, Joseph's voice is the one you're going to hear first. Abraham is the voice you're going to hear second. Encourage you to actually check out the YouTube. Help us get our numbers up. Click that like and subscribe. Thank you.
Trying to protect your own son by any means necessary. I call that going ham. Trying to sacrifice your own son by any means necessary. We call that Abraham.
Oh, protect your son at all costs. We call that going ham. Ham was Abraham's nephew who, when God told him to leave the land, he took his nephew with him. Pretty certain. Fact check that behind me. But then making a sacrifice, God told Abraham that he had to sacrifice his children. So that's what he's talking about. But y'all already knew that.
Shh. Getting messages you don't like. That's that junk mail. Send away the kid that she don't like. That's that Ishmael.
Whoa! 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 That's that. I'm gonna just let y'all do the research on that one. You'll understand. Leave a comment. Let me know. That was dope. Hey, this Abraham up.
You see, God's the real father, Joey. You're just a babysitter. I mean, yeah, you got to help Mary raise Jesus, but you ain't get to make the baby with her. Yeah.
That's a low blow in my community.
See, you tried to stash Mary away. You ain't a real one. You trying to keep that secret on lock. That ain't your real son.
Oh, listen. Any man that comes and be like, that ain't your, them fighting words right there. That's straight up fighting words. That was a close one. I want to know your thoughts, but I'm going with, I'm gonna have to go with Abraham on that one, because that was just, I'm gonna go with Abraham. It was a close one, but I'm going with Abraham. Who y'all going with round one? Round two starts now.
I know when you and Mary lost Jesus that day, y'all was mad. I mean, but then when you found him, the little son of God said, "You're not my dad."
Oh! Hey, they had a little picture just jump in of a kid saying that.
You see, I knew Isaac was coming because me and Sarah, we're a team. Mary hit you with the MLK. She was like, Joseph, I had a dream.
Oh my God. I'm crying. They made the screen go gray, black and white, I should say. I knew it was coming, but he used the voice and everything. I got a tear coming down my eye, y'all. Now he dancing on him.
Sarah having a kid in her old age? Man, that's a blessing. But Mary birthing the Son of God? Now that's impressive.
Okay.
If you wasn't my elder, you'd get these hands. Trust. Out here battle rapping. You need to act your age. Dust!
Oh! Yo, he opened his hand up and actually blew dust into my man's face. And then he fell out and they caught him. Hey, that one was that was hard. I gotta give that one a draw. Like, I don't think one outperformed the other one. That one was a draw for me. Y'all let me know who won that one, Jacob or Abraham. Let's tune in next week. We gonna continue to keep these going. Bible Bars. It's your boy, Mr. All In. We out this thing. Oh yeah, hit the like button. Subscribe. Thank you.